This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hello, all my feline friends. This is Michelle Byrne, host of Cattitude. Today we have a very special show. They're all special, aren't they? But today it's pretty interesting. We're going to talk about cats' coats. Does it really make a difference in their personality? And I'd like to give a special shout out to Bailey for suggesting this topic. She mentioned the idea of a show discussing personality traits and how it relates to a cat's coat coloring. She thought this would be interesting due to the behavior differences between her and her fiance's two cats. Keishan, who's a tortoiseshell or Tortie, and Luna, that's a black cat. So, this topic intrigued me. Is there really a difference between a cat's coat and its personality? Or is it just a myth? And this show, it's all about cats' coats, not about the breed, which can also have some effect on the cat's personality traits. We're going to be right back after this break. Molly, here's your dinner. Zeus, that's not your food.
Don't let that happen to your precious cat. Elevate your cat's eating experience with the Cat Tree Tray. The Cat Tree Tray keeps your cat's food off the floor and conveniently located on the cat tree. It's the perfect way to eat. It's a beautiful wrought iron tray that easily attaches to your cat tree and keeps dogs and other critters out of your cat's dish. A must for multi-pet households. There's a 6-inch tray for large bowls and a 4-inch tray for smaller bowls. Purchase your Cat Tree Tray today. Go right now to cattreetray.com. That's cattreetray.com. CATTREETRAY.com.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're talking about cat's coats and whether the cat's coats affects its personality. I did a lot of research on this topic, and I found some great info on the cat site. You can find it at thecatsite.com. And they said that there's about 6 different common cat coats. And I found the same information on quite a few other sites in researching. There's solid, bicolor, tabby, tortoiseshell, or also known as torties, color point, and calico or tricolored. So, to define the differences between these 6 different cat coats, the solid is, of course, a solid colored cat. The most common is generally solid black, white, or blue. They call it blue, but it's actually like a blue-gray color. Next, bicolored, which is white with one other color. There's a few different names for these types of cats. Harlequin is a mostly white cat. Van is a white cat with patches of color on the head or tail only. And tuxedo, well, that's, I think, the most common or most well-known of the bicolored cats. And that's a black cat with white on the paws and belly and sometimes the face. Kind of looks like your feline is dressed up fancy in his or her tux for a nice evening out. The tabby is the most common coat coloring out in the wild. And there's 4 varieties: striped, blotched, spotted, and tickled. And to give you an idea of what the tabby coloring is, I don't know, I never heard of tickled before, this is to give you an idea of what the colors look like. A tiger is considered a striped tabby. A leopard is a spotted tabby, of course. And the lion is a tickled or a gouty tabby. And please send me an email if I mispronounced that. A gouty kind of has to do with the hair color being a little different on the undercoat versus the top coat. but we'll just call it tickled. It sounds pretty cute anyway. Now, tortoiseshell or torties are distinguished by the coloring, which is generally the red-orange. They call it red, but it's orange and black, and it's mixed with brown or chocolate and a very small amount of white or cream. They can also be gray or blue, but they have a very small to no white markings. The coat color can be in patches, and swirls of stripes and patches are most common. Now this is really interesting when you think about torties. This next fact that I found out is that torties are a mix of black and orange for the most part, and that means they're almost exclusively female. I had no idea about this. And male torties are very rare and usually sterile. And this is due to the orange color only being passed on by the female cat by the X chromosome. In rare cases, males will have an XXY chromosome, and that causes the tortie color. And that is also why it's rare to have a male tortie and why they're just almost always sterile. So if you have a male tortie, you have a rare feline at your home. The calico cat is also fairly common. This is a cat that has a tricolor pattern, red, orange, white, black, and there's a lot more white compared to the tortie. So calicos and torties are pretty close, but your calico has a lot more white, where in your tortie, there's very little bit of white. And the red, orange, and the black colors are mostly for calico in patches. Color point is when a cat's coat is a solid color and the face, paw, and tails and ears are a bit darker than the rest of the cat's coat. So these are the 6 different types of common cat coats: solid, bicolor, tabby, tortoiseshell, calico, and color point. We're going to talk about 2 of these types of cat coats, and do they influence the cat's personality, or does vice versa? So in doing all my research on the various cat coats, I found 2 to be the most interesting: torties and tuxedos, or the bicolored. And of the bicolored, the tuxedos, which are probably the most well-known. Now, no offense if you're a calico or tabby listening out there. I just found this to be kind of interesting because torties are just known for having a very unusual tude, like attitude, and tuxedo because I could relate it to one of my crew, which is a tuxedo. So torties. Torties actually have their own personality style named after them, and it's called Tortitude. Tortitude is the name that's given to tortoiseshell cats or torties, and it's a real thing, tortitude. I was just wondering if there's any truth to that, because when people mention tortitude, they say that, torties tend to be more aggressive and energetic. They might be a little sneaky. They might be a little bit hard to get to know, not so willing to let strangers be into them. They might be a little standoffish, I guess would be a good way to describe them. And I thought it was probably a myth. How can the color affect the cat? It's kind of like, I guess it's in human terms, blondes, redheads, brunettes. Does it make a difference? I don't know. But all right, let's get back to our felines here. So in doing a lot of research, I found a study by UC Davis that involved over 1,200 cats. And there is some subjectivity to the research because they contacted cat owners, had them fill out a 20-minute questionnaire, and then analyze the results. And in their analysis, they did find that torties are more likely to show aggression, hiss, and chase than other cats with other coat colors. And it's also said that torties tend to be more willful, possessive, and energetic than other types of cats. So then I thought, maybe it's not all a myth. I mean, genetics are causing the coat color. We have that information that male torties are rare with the XY chromosome and that torties are mostly female. And that's science. That's not just, that's science. And so I think there is something to Tortitude. And I would love to hear from those of you that have a Tortie. What do you think? Because I don't have a Tortie on my crew. And can just go by what I've read. But I would love to hear from you. It's Michelle at PetLifeRadio.com. Now, stay tuned. We're going to be right back and talk about those fancy dressed up cats, tuxedos.
It's DesignerPetSweaters.com. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports-themed. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit DesignerPetSweaters.com to order your four-legged fashions today. Your pets will stay warm for the winter and be runway ready. Large or small, we fit them all. DesignerPetSweaters.com.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. All right, let's talk about our most popular bicolored cat, which are the tuxedos. Tuxedos are generally all black, and they have white on the belly and paws and sometimes the face. Sometimes a little mustache. They're actually said to be good luck if they have a spot on their chest, which is kind of cool. In research, I found that tuxedos have very distinct personalities. They're known to be extremely intelligent. They are the best swimmers of the cat family. They're affectionate, but they rule the house. They are the boss. And I found some kind of quirky and interesting information from the Spruce online. And some of this I wonder about, but hey, they said that tuxedo cats can, in an emergency, drive a car. When a full moon occurs on the vernal or diurnal equinox, tuxedo cats can become invisible. As kittens, tuxes will open their eyes 24 hours before the other cats that have different coats. And as mentioned, tuxies are the best swimmers in the feline family, but it's said they will despise the human forever that puts them in the water. They can add single-digit numbers and perform simple integrations, and they can see infrared light. So, in looking at all these, I thought, interesting, but I am not sure I would ever have a tuxie drive a car or swim, because cats generally don't like water, or do some. Now, I don't have a Tortie on my crew, and as always, when you look at different research, you always want to bring it home. What can you relate it to? On my crew, I have Dennis, who's I think he's kind of like Calico. He's Maine Coon, and I would call him Calico. Charlotte's a Tabby, and Molly's a tuxedo. So while I don't have a Tortie on my crew, I have a tuxedo, so I can relate to some of the information that a tuxedo has. Molly was the only one on my crew that I adopted right from birth. We were hosting her mother, and she was actually born on my front door. And she's definitely tuxedo. And while I never want her to drive my car, she is pretty smart. I haven't had her add anything, but she is pretty smart and clever. And she has this weird fascination with water. Just like weird. She's also very talkative and very energetic. I remember when she was 3 weeks old, she was climbing tree branches, which I guess must have seemed to her, they were just basically like large leaves, but she was only barely 3 weeks old. To her, must have seemed like trees. And I'll tell you this funny water story. We're in the path of hurricanes, and we recently had, a close call. And when you have a hurricane, you need to fill your bathtub up with water in case the water's out, so you can use it for the commode and, for some other things. So, of course, in my home, I had to do that. Now, the bathroom door to the tub, the sliding glass doors to the tub were closed. The bathroom door was closed. All of a sudden, soon after the power went out, I heard splashing and noise, and I thought, oh my God, the house, the roof, something's happening. What is that? My partner ran. He ran into the direction of the bathroom, opened the door, and of course, there was Molly splashing around, trying to get out of the tub. That's what we heard. How she opened the bathroom door, opened the sliding doors into the bathtub, I have no idea. But she loves the tub anyway. She's always jumping into it when it's empty. I guess she didn't notice there was water in there and jumped in, not knowing she'd be swimming. She wasn't traumatized at all, but after reading about tuxes, how they're the best swimmers of all the cats out there, I thought, makes sense, Molly. And I will say, still to this day, you would have think falling into a bathtub full of water would have scared her off for water. She still has a fascination. Now she tests where the water level is by putting her paw out, but she's still in love with water. So maybe there is some truth to all of this information that we, find out about tuxies and torties and some of the other types of cat coats. Let me know what you think. So in conclusion, I'd like to give a huge thank you to Bailey for suggesting this really interesting topic. And in my humble opinion, I think there might just be something to the cat's coat having some influence on their personality. After all, if genetics do cause the color of the coat, wouldn't they have some effect on the cat's personality? Something to think about. You can write to me at michelle@petliferadio.com and tell me all about your furry feline. Send a picture, whether your cat is a Tortie, a Tux, a Tabby, a Calico, or something else. I'd love to hear your comments. And as well, if you have any suggestions for future shows, let me know. It's been so fun to do the research on this topic and talk about the Torties and Tuxes. So we might have something like this coming up again in the near future. Thank you so much for listening. My Cattitude audience has been amazing, so thank you very much for listening. I'd like to thank my crew, Dennis, Charlotte, and Molly, for always showing me their distinct personalities. Thanks always to my Cattitude audience for listening and sending comments. Send me your pictures of your cats too. They'll go on my Instagram and on the blog. And thank you to my producer, Mark Winter, for making me sound great. He does an amazing job. Keep listening. We'll have so many more exciting shows coming up on Cattitude. Till then, stay close to your furry feline and keep listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.